Let me just close the browser that has the immersion. Otherwise, I'll be hearing my voice in the background. And I really don't want to do that. All right, perfect. So now we're live on YouTube. So hello, YouTube. Today we're here to speak English. And the theme for today is the final frontiers. Should humanity prioritize deep sea or space exploration? Jared's not feeling well today, so I'm just covering for him. And as a common thing that we usually start with is the presentations. But before we do that, let me just give you some information about Talk and Talk. So Talk and Talk is a platform that you can speak several languages like English, Spanish, French, hopefully Italian, because Italian is also really nice. Anyway, the platform consists of students just joining together to talk and the idea is not to correct anyone. You're just supposed to like enjoy, talk and share your opinion. And having said that, I think now we can finally start with the presentation. So my name is Pamela. I am 27 years old and I love language. So my first language obviously is Portuguese. Then after I learned English, when I was young, I started learning Spanish, which by the way, I'm awful at, but I can understand it pretty well. But honestly, it's just so hard sometimes to understand what people are saying. I mean, not to understand, but to talk back. That's why I think immersions are a very good way to improve your language skills, especially if you want to learn how to speak better. Um, I'm a host for French, which I have been doing for the past 4 months. And I think it has been a very interesting experience to be a host. You feel like you get to know a lot of people and share a lot of information and choose a theme, which can be very nice. Like if you like to talk and communicate with other people. All right. Having said that, Douglas, would you please also present yourself?
Okay. Hello, my name is Douglas. I'm from Brazil. I live in countryside of São Paulo state. My city name is Guaratinguetá, but I'm from Pindamonhangaba. There are two cities with long names, and this is my third lesson in Talk and Talk. I I subscribed in Talk and Talk on Friday, and I like very much the platform. I like in the immersions, and I think it's a good way or a good tool to practice and improve my English skills, especially speaking and listening. And I'm 35, and I work as IT analyst in a public company in my city, and I think it's it.
Thank you very much, Douglas. It's nice to have you here today. And I'm happy that you're enjoying your time at Talk and Talk. All right. So now we can first start with question number one. If you had to make the case, what is the single most compelling argument for investing billions into space exploration right now? Well, I think as humans, we're very curious. We like to understand how things work, hence the fact that a lot of things have been done, like in medicine or trying to understand the human body or trying to understand how geography works. And I guess we all have some questions like, is there a life somewhere else? Can we check if there is? Or are there stuff in the space that could help improving our life here on Earth? Sometimes people do have some bad motives, motives, I think, reasons to do certain things, or sometimes it's war related. But um, I think it's important to invest money into space exploration to check if there is a way of improving the quality of life that we currently have. I do know as well that there's recently they started doing this tourism for space which I'm not sure if it's something that actually improves the quality of life for us overall, especially considering the amount of fuels that are used and the fumes that comes from those fuels. But I do think it's quite interesting to try to understand how other planets and maybe even other galaxies work and how like everything that we discovered regarding stars and how they are dead if but because of how light travels we still see them alive. It's just like it's a physics and also like physics thing with astrology, and I just think it's quite interesting. If we, of course, if we had the money to do that, I think it's quite important to do so. What about you, Douglas? What do you think?
Are you hearing me?
Can you hear me?
Are you hearing me now? I think
I don't know if you look frozen for me, but I don't know if it's my internet or yours.
I think it's mine.
Hmm.
Sorry. Uh, are you hearing
I hear you, but your voice is breaking a little bit for me.
me? Uh,
You're still there?
are you hearing me now? No.
I hear you, but your video is frozen. Let's
Uh,
see if you're gonna break.
I will try to leave and get in. I don't know if I can do it. Leave and get in again.
Also, yes.
Okay, we'll try. Just a minute.
Sounds Hello.
Hello?
All good now?
I think now it's okay. Are you hearing me?
Sure. All right. So, would you like to answer the question number one?
The question number one. Okay. I I was thinking about this topic, and I think it's very difficult to talk about deep sea and space exploration. Even if I spoke in Portuguese, it would be difficult to because I don't have so many knowledge about this. But answering the question one, um, I don't know, but I was thinking maybe investing billions into space exploration, maybe for find a way or like a backup plan to humanity, because I think the Earth is dying slowly, and maybe the if you can't save the Earth, maybe the another place is the option that we'll have. But I don't know if what we will find exploring this space. It's we don't know if we have life outside the Earth, and I don't know if you will find another way like the Earth to live. And yeah, it's maybe this this question, I think that this argument would be more valid for me.
Thank you, Douglas. It would be something like sci-fi thing, like let's the rich go into some sort of a spaceship and they just keep having children in the spaceship and eventually they would get to another planet and humanity can continue living. It does remind me of an episode. I don't know if you watch Rick and Morty, but one of those episodes, Rick, which is one of the main characters, he did something really bad, just like he always does, and they started looking for other planet to leave because they couldn't go back to Earth. And then there was like different types of planets. Like one was with corn, and the other one was like it looked like Earth, but it was like so tiny that you could go all around the planet. It's just like 2 minutes or so, and um, just find it funny because I do think there are a lot of planets out there, but it's hard to tell if there's going to be one that would be ideal for humanity to live. And I don't think there's going to be a planet full of corn that looks like Earth and everything is made of corn. Of course, that seems a little bit likely to be the case, but who knows? Maybe there is something that is somewhat acceptable given the circumstances. However, I do feel concerned because even if that were to be the case, we don't know what type of predators are in this other planet, even if it kind of looks like Earth, because there were dinosaurs at some point on in here, and of course there were a lot of other climate change issues much prior to humanity itself, and it just makes me wonder what type of evolutionary time the planet would be because there could be so many things that even if the planet is ideal in terms of geography and water and temperature, ideal for humans, it might have been like a different evolutionary timeline in the sense that there could be a lot of a lot of dinosaurs or something similar to that, or even no intelligent life at all. It could be just bacteria or something similar to that, whatever it would be the equivalent, because I don't think the life forms would be exactly the same. And what if like there's just some life forms that are already very, very smart themselves? Would they accept having other type of life forms that are also intelligent, especially the ones that left their planet because they destroy it? There are so many questions like, yeah, if we found one planet, but why now? What comes next? But at least I won't be alive to answer those questions. So I don't think I have to worry too much
Yeah.
about it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be here. And if the planet explodes while I'm here, I'm just gonna, I guess probably just explode with it, unfortunately, just like most people who are poor. Anyway. All right. So for number two, conversely, what is the single most compelling argument for diverting those same billions into deep sea exploration? Well, I think deep sea is also very, very interesting. I do understand there is a capitalistic interest in the deep sea, especially for fuel, because there's there's this idea that we are running out of fuel, and fuel is limit. It's a limited resource, and that's why obviously we have been investing in a lot of type of different energy sources like wind and sun and water. So there are a lot of other sources for energy, but I also think there's a lot of things that we don't quite grasp, which is kind of crazy because we have been around for quite a long time. But the deep sea is just so deep that there are some life forms that it's just impossible, or at least at the moment, it's not possible to get even close and try to understand it better. I recently came across one of I don't know how it's called, but it's like a fish, and I think on the I don't know the name of the movie in English, but it's just a bunch of fish in the movie, and one of the fish uh, fish doesn't remember they remember their name, but they have like some memory issues. But in this movie, there was this fish that I think it's a deep sea fish, so they pretty much have like this slide on the top of their head, and they have like very weird teeth. And the thing is, I don't know if they're blind. I think they are because the deep sea doesn't have a lot of light. So it's quite
Mm.
interesting how they manage to feed themselves, because they can see and the sea is just it kind of feels like you're just swimming in a in the unknown kind of type of thing. And I do think that there could be a lot of other species that could potentially um, improve the quality of life. So I don't know, maybe they have some sort of serum or something that could support with a cure for a certain disease, or just there's a lot of things that we can find. It's just we don't really know what we could find because we need to explore to find, and I think that's the beauty of it all. You can find some stuff where you can find nothing, but if we can do that and it's not really gonna damage the environment, I think it would be a way of trying to understand more of where we live and maybe why we're here. All right, Douglas, what do you think?
Yes, I don't know. I think that exploring deep sea maybe is easier than explore the space. I think uh, if you compare the two things, maybe deep sea is way to explore than the space, but we also don't know what find there. It's completely unknown for us. We can, for example, as you said, maybe find some plants or some new elements or something that could be the key for the cure of some disease like cancer or like AIDS. I don't know. And at the same time, we can find some, for example, a new special material that has a big value, and probably the company will do like a competition or will fight for this, and it probably will destroy this environment too. And I don't know if it's a good idea to explore because of these things, because everything that the human put in the hand, in the end is it's destroyed. We see our forests, our rivers, our everything the earth it's dying, and maybe the deep sea is one of the thing that is keeping safe. And I don't know if it's a good idea, but if we were for find for example, new elements or new plants or something to use for for the good or for health. I don't know, for good things. I think it's a good way, but with careful to not destroy this this environment, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's also very important to protect the environment. But I do also understand, like you mentioned, that if we were to find some sort of material that has a lot of value for, I don't know, maybe energy or something else, there could be exploitation of that environment, and that could be very bad for whole ecosystem that we have there. So it's something to be very careful about. And unfortunately, honestly, I just sometimes I feel like I don't think big corporations care that much about it, and I feel like they only really care about things when it start costing them. So if people start, for example, boycotting certain products because that corporation is doing some very shady stuff, that's when they start to be more eco-friendly, or they just say that like something's getting some support. So like a minority group is starting to get some support, so they start being like in favor of minority groups. So it's just sometimes, most of the times, I feel like a lot of those um rights and protections and things that a lot of companies do, it's not really coming from a place of just a moment. A place of care, but it comes from a place where they can't have more profit. So, having said that, I think it would be very difficult for them to care about the deep sea. Okay, so for number three, which endeavor do you believe offers more immediate, tangible benefits to humanity? Medicine, material science, or energy? Well, I think that's a very, very tricky question. You see, I do think there is a lot of advancements for medicine, and I do really appreciate that, like vaccines, surgeries, being less invasive over time. Um, and a lot of cures have been found, and a lot of treatments have been created over the years. I know, like for example, they have been testing some stuff for cancer, and I think that it's very promising that in a few years maybe we're gonna have something like that. So I don't think that would necessarily give us an immediate tangible benefit because we already have most of the things covered. So for material science, I do understand that, like, I think that would be mostly for construction things. I know that right now they're trying to do more like 3D printing for some stuff, but there's some concerns about the durability of the infrastructures that they could build from scratch using different materials. But I think it's quite interesting, and I do think there's a lot that could still be developed for that. I do also think that we have an issue with energy right now, especially with politics, because unfortunately, a lot of things when it comes to energy, they do involve a lot of politics as well. So it's not just about like, oh, let's find some clean energy, or just something that could be more beneficial or cheaper for people. Which I don't really think that would be the case. So I do think that the material science one would be the one that would offer more immediate tangible benefits, due to the fact that I think still very undeveloped in some sense. What do you think, Douglas?
I think it's when I think in the space and the benefits to humanity, I don't see uh, tangible benefits, because if you find some materials, for example, in a distant planet, maybe it's very difficult to go to there and get these materials and bring to the earth. And maybe I think it's not tangible. I think it's very distant to happen this. Maybe in the deep sea is more easy because it's on the earth, and maybe we have some machines, I don't know, that could go into the deep sea. But I, I don't know because I don't see the exploring the deep sea as a difficult thing, and I don't know if they are doing this, and if there are something that we could use there, because maybe it would be mm, more notes or more things about this, and I don't see too many things about exploring deep sea. I don't know, and we maybe it's just knowledge that I don't have, but probably it's there's nothing there. Maybe I don't know, or they are not exploring enough, but probably the tangible benefits is something that is more closest for us. Is that we can find more ease. That's the things that are on the deep sea, I think, because in the space, I think it's very distant and it's not easy to find and bring the things and study. I think it's
Yeah, I I think the space is way, way bigger than deep sea. So that could potentially be a bigger challenge as well. Also considering that it's bigger, it's also, like you said, harder to bring stuff back. Not just bringing back, but also transmitting any message back, especially if we're thinking about like going out of our galaxy. It could take several light years just to get something back. Even if we send a human like from star to another planet, and somehow they survive and I don't know, their family survive. They want to say something back. It would take so many years that honestly would take maybe a couple thousand generation or more just to get the message back or like hey or something like it could be the a crazy message. So I guess deep sea maybe might be more feasible. Indeed. Thank you for your answer. Now let's go for fourth. Space exploration is often justified as a lifeboat for humanity, a way to ensure long-term survival by becoming multiplanetary. How valid or urgent is this argument compared to solving problems on Earth? Well, I have a feeling we kind of grasp the idea behind this for other questions. Um, I think you personally even mentioned that, Douglas, about the lifeboat for humanity. Well, I do think that that's not going to work, especially if considering how much we have been damaging Earth and considering how there are so many political war and technology issues that could potentially end up with people either killing themselves or killing other people because they don't have a job or because they just don't feel like they are useful for our society anymore, which is very very challenging. I think there are like a lot of social issues that we're facing right now, along with a very bad climate change situation. So I don't think that it's urgent to get a lifeboat for humanity because if we don't solve the problems that we currently have here, how do we even expect of not doing the same with another planet? So it's not like that we can't change things. Like, for example, there's a lot of plastic, especially in countries that are poor. They don't have proper trash support system. But those, although it might be hard, they are possible to, change. It's possible to have less trash. It's possible to use other materials that are not plastic and that could be much, much better for the health of people and the environment along with it. And people just don't do it, like they just don't do it. Like there are people dying out of hang, hang, hunger, I think. And there is enough money to support that. And they just don't do it. So I feel like maybe if there were to be a lifeboat, it would just be for rich people, and they would probably just find a way of, exploring or exploiting um whatever they can, because it's just how it is. Like, a lot of people have this hunger for power and money that it just goes beyond empathy for other humans, and it's just it's just how it is. So I don't think it's urgent at all. I think there's like a lot of issues that needed to be resolved before we even consider the idea of destroying another planet. So what do you think, Douglas?
Yes, I agree. I think find another planet to is not urgent. There are a lot of problems that we need to try to solve. Uh, but I don't know how until when the Earth will be possible to like to reverse the problems that the human is causing to the Earth. And I think it's possible. Now it's possible. Nowadays it's possible, but I don't know until where or to what point we can go, because every day is there are pollution, every day there are deforestation, every day the humans destroying everything. And as I said, the earth is dying slowly, but it's dying. And it's the problem. And I think that what is urgent is the countries try to unite, I don't know, unite to try to find a solution. And but it's not what's happening now, because each country has um, your own, I don't know, your own, your own, what they want is different from the other countries, and for them it's not urgent to try to solve this problem in Earth. And I don't know until where we can go and until what point we can go to try to save the Earth. Maybe we will not. When the country will unite to do something, probably it's not be possible to save the Earth, and probably we will try to find another planet. But I don't think that's possible too, because I don't think that we we will have the technology to find another planet and go to everybody to there. And if you can do it, probably we will destroy the other planet too, and it's also be a problem. And I don't know. I think I agree with you that there are a lot of problems that is more urgent than try to find another planet, for example.
And also, I think the lifespan of humans, it's fairly short to explore for planets. So if there were to be a group of people who decided to leave Earth, I know that this might sound very odd, and I really wish I didn't have to say that. but they would just have to, keep reproducing while living their lives in a spaceship in hopes that one day they would find something, and it just become awkward over time. And I don't know, I just feel like humans have a very complex psychological brain. And I you know I keep thinking, like, if I were to be a kid born in one of those spaceships, would I just think it's normal to have a life in such an enclosed space and maybe just living in a way that it could just be always the same kind of? And I would have this expectation that I would have to have children. Like, would I feel comfortable with all those tasks that were um given to me even before I was born? Like, someone decided my life, my path, and my passions even, or maybe I won't even have any passions because what is there to do anyway? It gets to a point that even if it were to be possible, how would we change or support those challenging thoughts that people have, and like this eager for freedom that a lot of humans have as well? So I don't know, it's just seems like very hard to control when unlikely, I would say. So I think we should try very much to fix everything that we cause to this planet. Okay. Perfect. So now let's go to the next question. From a geopolitical perspective, which frontier is more critical for a nation's influence and security in the 21st century? Dominating space, controlling satellites based on the moon, Mars, or controlling the deep seas, securing trade routes, seabed resources, and undersea cables. Well, that one is quite hard because satellites are quite important, actually, especially for signals, overall telecommunications, internet. And I do think that the future will be in the future there will be way more satellites. I also understand that we have some issues because right now we have a lot of satellites around Earth, and I'm not sure if they can be removed from that. And it might just end up with like having too many. And I think I studied that, but I don't quite recall a lot of that. But it's like I think there's a challenge of what that I think there's a limit of how many satellites it can put in orbit. I think that's the word for that. And also, the further it is from Earth, the harder it is to send signals. So it's very important, but at the same time, how do we guarantee equal access to space satellites? Because what if every country wants to have their own satellites? And how do we say, no, this part of the space is mine and this is not yours? And, there's a lot of challenges when it comes to um, controlling satellites and based on the moon or Mars. So that's a quite challenging question. But for the controlling the deep ocean, I do think that maybe the deep ocean might be easier, just like you, Douglas. I think it might be easier to, just take care of whatever we need from the oceans, like routes or resources or cables. I think it's more likely to improve the overall quality of humanity, like the life quality of humanity, if we just were to invest more in the deep ocean from a geopolitical perspective, especially because I feel like satellites could cause a lot of wars for space and controlling telecommunications. But I feel like deep oceans might be a way of, just connecting people and making sure that signals are sent faster and ping and everything like to be faster. What do you think?
As you said, I don't know if maybe the satellites in the orbit is the from the probably the richest country in the world. And I don't know if they will uh, give some space for the other countries. Probably they want to the space just for them. Probably it the future could be a war about this space. I don't know. And but I think that the small countries are the countries that are probably want to have a satellite in the future because the space is from the great countries and the richest countries in the world. And I think it's not will change in the future. And for these nations, I think for them controlling the satellites maybe is strategic because you can monitor other countries, you can like have a vision, a wide vision from the other countries, monitoring something that with the controlling the deep oceans you can do. And for the perspective or geopolitical, I think satellites is more strategic for uh, these countries that are the biggest countries, and for the other countries, it's just nothing changed because they are being dominating for the others, and I don't see the solution. I just see maybe the a type of war for the space, but between the greatest countries in the world, I think.
Thank you, Douglas. Yeah, I think it's just like everything else. If the country has more money and space, it's obviously um, easier for them to control things that other smaller countries can. It's very unfortunate that resources are not shared equally among nations, and I guess it's just how it is, sometimes. And I don't think there. I think there's also a big feeling of like if if I'm from a country and you're from the other, we don't feel like equals. I feel like the sense of community it ends in a very small geo space, like maybe even a neighborhood or or within the same country. But even so, like sometimes when you are in the same country as someone else, sometimes they don't see you as part of their own, and I think that that's just how it is sometimes, and how considering the fact that they don't see other humans as part of their own community or part of as humans as we are, like we just think it as people as the other person. I think that's just how it caused things like I'm gonna take this part of the space to put in my satellite, and I don't care if yours is not gonna be there because you know what, my satellite is more important than yours, and I just think I'm more important than you. So it's just how it is. Just like humanity sometimes can be very greedy, and not empathetic with other people if they are not from the same background and country as you. Okay, perfect. Now, Douglas, I will let you choose one last question for us. You can read the question that you choose and answer it as well, please.
Well, let's answer the question 7.
All right, you can go ahead and read it and answer as well, please.
Okay. What are the major ethical risks associated with space exploration, such as planetary contamination, space debris, or the colonization of other celestial bodies? Major ethicals associated. I, I think like it's most about the privacy. I don't know because there are a lot of satellites in the space. We don't know how what they are doing, what they are. seeing, but we know that we see some, I don't know what's the name of they put a type of satellite in the space recently, and it takes some picture of the space, and has a wide limit. And if you think this type of satellite like a cam that could take pictures or could can send videos from a distant place, you think about your privacy, you think about what they are doing, what they are monitoring about your lives, about the other countries. And I think there are some ethical risks because we don't know if they are respecting our privacy, what they are doing, what they are monitoring. And I don't know, but was if I think in this, it's strange for me because another a satellite that's a miles of distance, it's doing maybe something with monitoring the lives, maybe not my life, but if they want, they could. But I think I have this preoccupation about this thing, but we can do nothing about this.
Yeah, we don't know if they're interested in checking what I'm gonna have for dinner or what you're gonna have for dinner, Douglas, but it's a indeed a concern for privacy, especially for big political things. I completely agree with you. Um, but you know what? Another thing that I think it's even more concern regarding privacy. I honestly the the satellites, they don't bother me that much, and the reason, especially when it comes to privacy itself, the reason why it doesn't bother me as much is because I feel like our privacy is already compromised, uh, even with or without satellites. I just feel like social media and the amount of information that we constantly share, and just the fact that we have our phone with us all the time, and people have access to our data location, where we live, where we go, what we buy, what we like, what we do, who we talk to, and the amount of information that they can do with that, and like personal photos, children photos, or voice, or image. I don't know. I just feel like those are more concerning privacy issues that for me than the satellites itself. I do think they're both concerning, but in different levels. I just feel like our data, our personal data, our bank accounts, and everything. It kind of sometimes feel like it's already out there with all those data leakage and everything else. So I do think it's an issue as well. But along with that, regarding the space exploration, I do I do feel concerned regarding the things that we are sending to space, because who knows if those satellites are not going to be an issue in the future for other life forms. I don't know. It's just could be anything. Like, or the fact that we're exploring other places. Are we damaging those places? Are we just contaminating, or even bringing weird virus? Or I don't know if that would even possible, because they they would probably need some air. I don't know. Maybe not. I would have to do more research on the sense, but I think there's a lot of concerns regarding the bad things that we can do with that. But just to try to end this with a more positive outcome, I still think that there could be a lot of good things as well. Like a lot of development that we could potentially do, and if there is a public, how can I put that, pressure um, for the companies to do better and actually take care of whatever they're exploring and being careful. I do think that it could be we could have a better outcome of any type of exploration that we do. I do think that people have the power, and we have the power with our wallets. By the time that they start losing money by doing weird stuff, and if we show or how um, discontent we are with this type of behavior, I do think that we can change that. So yeah, it's hard to tell. Those are very random questions in a lot of senses because you have to kind of like imagine how things can be and how things are. And of course, it's out of us to really define how the future will be. But I do think that if if there is good in humanity, I'm sure that it's possible that we could end up with good outcome from those explorations. Okay, Douglas, how was that immersion for you?
Very good. How I said in the beginning of the immersion, it's a difficult topic to talk. Even in Portuguese, probably would be very difficult for me because I don't know more. I don't know about deep sea. I don't know about space exploration. I don't have my knowledge about this is very limited, and it's sometimes difficult to answer these questions. And as you said, we need to to imagine how would be in the future, and we have in the end we have no idea what will happen, and we are just guessing about the future, and we don't have sure about nothing. And but for me, it was very good because I think that's a challenge to talk something that you don't have the knowledge, and it's good to practice. Yeah, because if you practice just with the topics that you know or that you have more confidence or that you are more comfortable, probably you not learn too much. And I think we were very good immersion.
Thank you, Douglas. I hope you learned a lot from this immersion. I do agree with you. That's a very hard topic as well. And I guess all we can do is hope for the best outcome out there. And I think that's it. Well, I do hope that you join Jared next week as well. If you like to do your immersions at this time, I wish you a great rest of your week. And that's it. Bye bye. Take care.